I became a mother at 13. Ask me anything. I'm 29 and my son is about to turn 16. We're messing around on his Reddit account and came across a story similar to ours, so we thought we would share our story. I would like to say no question is out of bounds, so ask away, guys. How is your guys' relationship? Do you find you two are able to relate to each other better than the average mother-son duo due to the smaller age gap? If so, in what ways? We talk about everything, nothing's off limits. He's like my closest friends. I'm bisexual, so we talk about girls and shit like that. He'll ask me for tissues and let me know not to change his sheets if he has a spillage. Or we'll talk about sex casually and he has no issues coming to me for condoms ever since becoming sexually active with his girlfriend a few months ago. We even talk about how things are with his friends and how his relationship is. We can spend nights on the couch together, eating ice cream with a bottle of wine, having a horror movie marathon. The grumpy teenage stage was barely an issue because we went through the highs and lows together. There's even been nights where he's canceled plans with his friends to hang out with me willingly because my fiance has been working and his brother has been busy. At the same time, there's a good separation between us, so that is healthy enough of a relationship while still close. Does he have a relationship with his father? Nope, and he never will. His father is currently in prison for sexually assaulting a minor, not me. No one took my story other than my dad seriously on account of I was drunk, his friend, and probably leading him on. So with any luck, he won't survive his sentence. Does your relationship with other children feel different than your relationship with him? How did he react when you had other children, or when you got engaged? I'm so happy to hear you're doing well, and that you both are living a good life. With both my sons, I'm the exact same way. The only difference is I don't drink with my youngest. Not that I'm drinking now anyway. When I got pregnant with Jamie, it was a shock and triggered some PTSD. But his dad, now my fiance, was with me all through it and helped me through it all, even though we were 19 and not expecting it. Does he know how he was conceived? If so, how does it make him feel? He knows and just says his real dad is my fiance. Who made him doesn't matter. Do you ever think about abortion? Never. Don't support it at all, and when the word was first thrown my way, even at 13, I knew there was no way I could ever consider it. How did it all happen? I was sexually assaulted by my best friend. At the beginning, it made life hard because I was in school part-time and home whenever my dads were at work. At 16, I got a trainee position in my dream job, so I had some money coming in and managed to save up and pay my way as well as have my son at work with me. Now I'm 29 and pretty secure and have another son and girl on the way. I'm pretty secure financially and hopefully getting married in December if Scotland doesn't go back into lockdown or disallow it. What do you advise other girls or women should do in moments of sexual assault? To be honest, what can you do? I was dragged in a shed, pinned down, and raped. No matter how hard I fought, and as a brat, I know more than your basic self-defense. I always answer that question with, it isn't what you can do during. If you can fight, try to. If it's too dangerous, don't. Coping with the aftermath is easier, in my opinion, than your family having to cope with your murder if he's that way inclined. How is your relationship with your son different than that of other mothers? I'd say we're more open about everything. He'll ask me for tissues for his room or condoms if he's spending time with his girlfriend. He'll tell me if there's been a spillage so I won't change his bed. We'll talk about girls and shit like that because I'm bisexual, so it's a simple conversation to have. We're essentially close friends, unlike most mothers and sons I know. What were your parents' reaction when they found out? They were angry, but never showed it. They kinda just kept it hidden in order to help me through without worrying me with their reaction. His friends probably think you're hot and they constantly tell him about it. Probably, but aren't all 16-year-old boys like that anyway? What was it like raising a baby at such a young age? Were you able to get support from family or friends? It was hard, but I had my dads to get me through it. What was the first thought when you found out you were pregnant? I am 14 and I found out a friend sexually assaulted someone. Felonies may be committed. Honestly, I think sexual assault is worse than murder, since it pretty much kills someone inside when it happens. For me, when I found out, I was too numb to let it sink in. Then at the first scan, I fell in love with the little baby inside me. What was your labor and birth like? Do you ever feel judged by the hospital staff, or were they kind? The hospital was kind of okay. They were condescending as hell. As for the birth, I had a C-section. How hard was it giving birth so young? It must have been terrifying. See, I'm 13 and I'm really scared of things like this. I had a C-section and only really had to suffer the pain of recovering from that. I noticed in some of the comments you're a Scot, so 2 questions. Do you speak Gaelic? I know like 5 words or so, but find it a lovely language, and I hope it's still being taught. Any good recipes to share? I speak it semi-fluently since I spent a good few years in Gaelic-dominated areas when my dad was in the army. And I have some great ones, but mostly comfort food types of food since that's all my boys eat. Are you planning to tell your son how he came to be conceived, or do you want to avoid sharing that with him? If you've already told him, how did he react? Also, an occasionally moody teenager myself, how did you deal with teenage moodiness? Did you get to be a teen or not at all? He knows, and he told me the day he found out my partner is his real dad, and all the rest is just complications. And with the moodiness, I just leave him alone to sort his shit out. And yes, I did get to be a teenager. My dad's let me have one weekend off a month to enjoy my youth. How does your son feel that you're still young enough to beat him on the PS4? Some of our biggest arguments are while gaming. Did you finish your high school? Can't imagine how tough that must have been with a baby. How did people react? Were they generally kind? I stayed in school until I was 16 because I had the opportunity to train for my dream job. Most people called me a whore because that's how his dad made me out to be. As in, he was the victim because I slept with him and then labeled him a rapist. How did your body handle it? I can't imagine as a literal 13-year-old, you aren't really made to support pregnancy and birth. It was hard, slept a lot on bed rest the past 3 months. How's your son doing? Like mentally or in school or anything? Does he struggle with anything? I always imagine having a mother-son dynamic like this would cause some odd issues, but you really seem like a fantastic mother from what I've read. I guess I'm curious if you think this dynamic has caused any issues for your child. He's doing great and only really struggling in things like maths and science because he's not interested in it. And there's no real issues with our dynamic. How are you financially? I hear a lot about teen moms struggling with money. It was hard at the beginning, but I left school at 16 to train for my new dream job, and now I'm pretty secure. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and don't forget to watch our other videos.